Tally Solutions bring to you Talk Compliance every Mondays and Fridays, where we talk about corporate tax. We are going to talk about transfer pricing, and we've got the specialist with us in the studio, CA Manu Palerichal. A pleasure to welcome you back again, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Vivek, and good morning, Sharon.
Hi, good morning. It's so lovely to have you here.
And we're going to talk about transfer pricing today. Very important that, June 1st, the law is going to take effect. What are the preparations needed in terms of us knowing about corporate tax as a common man?
Vivek, the corporate tax will be implemented from in another 3-4 days.
3-4 days.
It's today is 29th, and then only 2 more days, 30 and 31st.
So the countdown has begun.
Yeah, right. In 3 days, it is going to be implemented. And as a common man, it's applicable for the business. That's what we have to understand first.
Right.
It's not a personal income tax at all.
Correct.
It's applicable only for business. But if you are having a business as a company, or you are doing a business in individual capacity, still tax will be applicable.
Correct. So as an employee, I should understand that my business is going to pay where I'm working. My business will be paying corporate tax. This is after 9 months of filing the returns.
Yeah, correct. For example, in simple terms, corporate tax will be applicable from 1st June in the country. But this law will be applicable for your company, for a particular company, depending upon our financial year.
Correct.
Suppose I'm starting, my financial year is from 1st July to 30th June. The law will be applicable for me from 1st July 2023. Then up to the first financial year will be 1st July 2023 to 30th June 2024.
Correct.
So I have to pay my corporate tax of 9% on my taxable profit within 9 months from the end of the financial year, means
July.
it has to be from July 2024 before 31st March 2025.
Perfect. And then we'll get to know who's paying, who's not paying,
All
those things.
Then at that time, government will get know the who's paying, who's not paying. But we have to prepare now itself in advance. Get ready, because everybody has to prepare their books of accounts, and then business and the business structure, transaction, and everything has to be well placed in advance to make sure that they are complying with the corporate tax.
Absolutely. Now, to quickly update everyone, CA Manu Palerichal, he is a passionate professional, CEO and partner of Emirates Chartered Accountants Group, a chartered accountant with more than 20 years of extensive experience in the field of finance, accounts, audit, taxation and management consultancy. He is a TAC and ESR expert with a practical experience of VAT in UAE and Bahrain, and has conducted more than 250 workshops in UAE and Bahrain for public listed companies, banks, corporates and SMEs across UAE and Bahrain on different topics like value-added tax, excise tax, economic substance, regulation, etc. So it's a pleasure again.
It's an absolute pleasure. And I was actually going through the current positions that he holds, which is quite interesting. He's the CEO and founder of partner at Emirates Chartered Accountants Group, board member and regional representative, Middle East, Asia Pacific, and international network of auditors, accountants and tax professionals, board member of AITC, an association of international tax consultants, executive member at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And he's sitting next to me here with a big smile on his face, because there is
and the award for the tax
because there is still so much to go on. That's very impressive.
Right. So today we are discussing about transfer pricing, and what is transfer pricing and who does it apply to? If we could just touch on that.
It's transfer pricing. When we it's a little more technical things. It's not easy to understand from the word itself. What is transfer pricing? Right. So I'd like to give you a scenario where how the business are happening.
Okay.
In the UAE, especially in the UAE, there is no personal income tax. So if you are doing any business with another company which is related to your company. Suppose your one company is making a profit and another company is making a loss. You will have, if there is transaction between your two companies, suppose you may be selling a product or they giving a service between these two companies, won't be there a tendency for you to manage the price between these two companies in such a way that you get the maximum benefit out of this?
Absolutely. Yes.
For example, just a
Yes.
simple example. Suppose I have a company in another country. For example, I'm from India. I have a company in India, and I got an order from in Europe, for example. So suppose the cost of the product is 100, and then I am getting an order for 200 dirhams.
Okay.
So I am making a profit of 100 straight away.
Correct.
What is the rate of income tax in India? It is around 20-25 it comes.
Okay.
So if I am selling 10 million, I will make a profit of 1 million.
Yeah.
And then for 1 million, I have to pay 25%.
250,000 gone.
It is gone. Suppose,
Gone nahi, matlab,
we are liable to
regulated,
pay
yeah.
tax.
Yeah.
Correct.
Suppose the goods are moving from India to Europe. If there is another company in any other country, for example, Bahrain or UAE or Jebel Ali Free Zone, for example.
Okay.
If I open a company in another country where there is no tax, I sell the product from India instead of 200. I will sell from India to UAE or Bahrain anywhere for 110.
Nice.
I'll keep a profit only 100,000 instead of 1 million. I'll keep only 100,000 profit in India.
Oh.
Remaining 100,000 I'll keep in the other country where there is no tax.
Amazing.
This kind of transactions are happening where it is called transactions are not happening in the market value. It is not happening at arm's length. If I was selling this product to another company, I would have taken the market value.
Correct.
But for my related company, I may play with these figures.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's a chance, it's an opportunity for a company for tax saving, but it's hitting the economy.
Okay.
A tax loss will be there for the government.
So this is one loophole which is being addressed by the tax authorities.
Of course,
Okay.
of course. That's why this concept of transfer pricing introduced. It is in line with the global taxation, that is OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The guideline is there on transfer pricing. What are the conditions to be satisfied? What are the methodology to be adopted to value the product and the service and all. So based on that, in UAE also transfer pricing is applicable, and the product or the services or any transaction between the related companies. I'll explain what is related party and connected persons and all in
the future, right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after some time.
But I have a quick question. If I am a food supplier company and I'm supplying food to my 4-5 restaurants,
Okay.
and I do it at a very low rate comparatively because I know the other food suppliers will charge me more.
Correct.
So will this apply, transfer pricing?
It will be applicable for your company as
So I have to have a market
Yeah, correct. The previous
value for it.
Yeah, correct. So the previous example I was mentioning cross-border transactions, like
it's-
one country to
yeah,
another country.
yeah.
It's applicable in domestic transactions as well in the UAE.
Superb. Your questions, you can send us your questions 0586861003 या फोन भी कर सकते हैं 800-81003. CA Manu Palerichal हमारे साथ है. This is Tally Solutions Talk Compliance brought to you by Tally Solutions.
Talk 100.3.
डे ब्रेक 9:10 एंड एवरी मंडेज एंड फ्राइडेज टॉक कंप्लायंस होता है ब्रॉट यू बाय टैली सॉल्यूशंस. विवेक और शरोन आपके साथ, तो सीए मनु पलेरीचल हमारे साथ है. वी आर डिस्कसिंग अबाउट ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग एंड देयर इज सो मच टू नो अबाउट इट. योर क्वेश्चंस ऑन आवर व्हाट्सएप नंबर 0586861003. We also saw, CA Manu, that a lot of new updates, small business relief coming in, the new updates.
Correct.
All of that. Registrations have also started by invitation, if I'm not wrong, or any business can register.
Yeah, even without invitation also we can start registration. Yeah.
And once you register, there is no way looking back. I mean, you anyways have to. All businesses have to.
All businesses have to register for corporate tax. So this is applicable for any company which is registered in the mainland or free zone. So if they are doing business, if it's a licensed entity, definitely it has to go for registration. And there are some exempted category of
charities, government entities.
Correct. Government, semi-government entity, government control entity, and this kind of organizations are so there are certain other categories of licenses, like the Emirates level taxation also applicable in the UAE for oil industry, extraction of mineral oils and this kind of category. So they have already taxed. They are already being taxed by Emirates level. So for them, this is not applicable. It is those are exempted. But for other entities, whether they are making profit or not, they have to register.
Correct.
They have to be registered. And also the ministry is like bringing up a lot of new decisions. How is this impacting?
So this is what when the UAE, the tax was started from the year 2017 with the excise tax.
VAT.
Then VAT in 2018, then other compliance regulations like economic substance regulation, country by country reporting and all. So in the case of VAT is one of the main tax system in the UAE, which is indirect tax. At that time the law was released, then thereafter subsequently an executive regulation to the law also was released, which is explaining how the tax treatment, and in detail the articles will be explained in detail. So but in the case of corporate tax, the law was released. After that there is no executive regulation, but time to time there will be cabinet decisions or ministerial decisions or FTA's decisions on compliance or the procedural aspects or any clarifications. All this are so on very recently for last 1 week around 5 or 6 clarifications or the updates came. So we are still waiting for very, very important cabinet decision. That is on taxation on free zones.
Free zones, correct.
That is let everybody.
Qualified income, non-qualified income hasn't yet been clarified?
No, it is not yet been clarified. Everyone is waiting for that. Only 2 more days left.
And
On
how long,
31st, yeah.
Yeah, correct.
2 more days left, yeah.
how long does it take for them to actually implement these?
It depends upon the size of the company.
Okay.
And it depends upon how complex their organization structure or how complex their operation structure and all. So implementation in the sense, first in the company, one expert has to look into, or either a company itself or a consultant has to look into what will be the impact of corporate tax on their business. First, that is to be analyzed, not only the corporate tax and transfer pricing impact on their business. So that is a study. Normally it has to be done for any company. In my opinion, if it's a company which is having 3-4 organizations or 5 to 6 organizations and having teams, I mean, it's a size of 50 to 100 million turnover company. This is just a rough size I'm saying. So it will take minimum 1 month for a consultant to, or the finance manager to sit and identify identify the impact on their business. Minimum 1 month it will take. Then they have to decide how to the impact. Once the impact is assessed, then they have to decide how to implement it properly by making if any structural changes required. For example, why I'm talking about the structural change of the company. Suppose there are 4 companies in a group and they are operating separately, but there will be transactions between these these companies. Transaction will be there.
Correct.
If they want to avoid the compliance requirements of transfer pricing, which is hectic compliance, they can make all these companies into one group.
So you make a tax group basically.
Group. Yeah, it will be called as a tax group.
Nice.
This tax group is not in line with the VAT tax group. This is separately. The conditions are different. For example, in this, one company should hold at least 95% of the shares of another company. Then only we can form the tax group.
Correct.
So if your company structure is different, suppose I am holding a company A and then myself holding company B, I cannot make it as a tax group. I have to, company A, I may be the shareholder. Company A has to hold to company B, or company B has to hold to company A minimum 95%. Then only I can make it as a tax group.
Right. So individually holding doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It will
as
not
a company.
be. Yeah, correct. But in the case of VAT, it would have been possible, and it is possible in that law.
Right.
But here it is not possible. So that's what we have to analyze. Which is the best option to any restructuring is required in the legal structure or any other transaction. There are many requirements.
Correct.
So that's what we do in impact assessment, how it will impact their business, and then restructuring in the legal structure as well as the transaction structure also, supply chain structure also, because the transaction nature differs. The company may be having in free zone and mainland. For example, a company may be located in mainland. It may be doing business from the free zone to outside, as well as free zone from the mainland to free zone as well.
Correct.
So if the company, if such a client is having, or the businessman is having, if a business in the free zone separately, whether it will make more easy for him to do the business, if commercial sense, the business sense, if it is viable,
Right.
he will get a benefit of taxation as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So we have to analyze all this from this perspective, not for the tax benefit purpose.
This is
but-
matrix.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need a professional help for transfer pricing. But how accountants can also be vigilant or aware about this as well. For example, every company doesn't have a chartered accountant, or
Correct.
even if they have, then it's great. But then a lot of accounting staff,
Yeah.
they need to be completely up to date and aware about
Yeah,
this.
correct. This is very important. If you are not taking it seriously, when we are experienced with that from in the market, we have seen many cases. Even VAT, many people took it very simple as just to collect and pay, but it is not just to collect and pay. It is something more than that.
Yeah.
And now the penalty is hectic. So the penalty, when people are getting penalty, especially in excise tax, that taxation is 50% or 100% of the turnover, the sales value. Then the penalty is huge, and over and above the penalty, the taxation itself is huge, and then penalty will be very hectic. So for the corporate tax, I would like to again inform all the business community. It's not a very high rate; it is very low, and then we are getting a benefit of 0% of tax up to a profit of 375,000. Most of the expenses, everything we can claim as expenses, where little restriction is given only for entertainment expenses, or a cap is given for interest. So these are the only area where cap is given or limitation is given. When we compare with other countries, there are a lot of restrictions on claiming the deductions expenses.
Yeah. And also talking about directors' remuneration, suddenly it struck me. Does it come under transfer pricing?
It comes under transfer
Wow,
pricing.
we will discuss about that.
Yeah.
But if you have questions, this is the time. CA Manu Palerichal hamare saath hai, and for any services, you can always contact him at Emirates Chartered Accountants Group as well. 0586861003 हमारा WhatsApp number. You can give us a call 800-81003, and every Mondays and Fridays, Tally Solutions come up with Talk Compliance, where a maestro comes in and he shares all his expertise and knowledge with us. 800-81003.
Talk 100.3.
And yes, we've been getting some questions. We will get to that. In fact, Hussain is with us on the line. Hussain, hi, good morning.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Hussain.
Hussain. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Very good. How are you this morning?
I just want to get one clarification on my corporate tax.
Yes, CA Manu is listening to you. Yeah.
Okay, good morning. Good
Manu,
morning.
Manu Saab, how are you?
Fine, thank you, dear. How are you?
Manu Saab, Alhamdulillah. Manu Saab, I have opened a company here in the mainland Dubai
Okay,
with an intention to do some trading business.
okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so far, 1 year has almost completed, but
Okay.
I was not feeling myself very comfortable in this competitive market, so I
Okay.
didn't do any transaction
okay.
so far.
Yeah,
But I'm intending to now do the import business. Next year, I want to do something import
okay,
and the same line of business.
okay.
So as of now, do I need to register for myself as a corporate tax because I didn't do any transaction?
Yeah, you have to, even though you didn't do any transaction, but you have to register for corporate tax. And you just
I have
check
to
your financial year, whether it is July to June, or April to March, or Jan to December.
It's a June. It was June exactly. I
Oh,
took the
June
trade
year, right?
license the June.
Okay, so
June to June.
So nothing, no need of being hurry for registration as of now, since you are very small transactions. And if you already got a notice from authority, then you can go ahead for registration, since you
As
have.
of now, no notice I have got
Okay,
it from you.
but there is no mandate cut-off date for registration as of now. It is not declared for business, so you
Okay.
have time for registration. But if you are getting any notice, then you have to go ahead for registration.
Okay, so I have to wait for any notice. The notice will be coming on the given email or something like that.
Yeah, probably we will be getting an email, but it doesn't mean that always only after notice you have to register for corporate tax. We have to register ourselves, since your business is very small and you are in such a situation to go ahead for the to decide whether to go ahead with the business or not. Then even but corporate tax will be applicable for you from July 1st 2023 onwards, since your year end is 30th June.
No, CA Manu, very interesting. Hussain is incurring losses rather than profit
Yeah,
because
correct.
there is no transaction.
There's no transaction.
He's
there's no
paying the
profit.
fees,
Yeah.
the license fees,
Yeah.
and he's also probably employed some people as well, Hussain. So losses.
No, so far I have not employed anyone. I'm trying to do it at my own.
Okay.
Minimum cost.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have a place, you're paying rent, for example,
Correct,
electricity
correct,
bill.
correct.
So all of that is expense,
Correct.
right? So his
Yeah,
business
this
is
kind
in
of-
loss.
Yeah, it will be under loss. There is another option also for you, saying if the transactions. What's your company nature? It's a sole establishment or LLC?
LLC.
LLC. Since it's it's an LLC, then the registration will be applicable for you. You have to register. If it's a sole establishment, the scenario would have been different. So for you, it has to be done. You have to do the registration. The loss what you are incurring in the first year, for example, 23-24, can be carried forward to the next year. So with a positive note, definitely in 2-3 years you will make huge profit.
Nice.
And
Kya
this
baat
loss
hai.
what you are incurring expense loss can be set off against the profit which you are
Superb.
having in future.
Hussain, do you realize
Yes.
कि कितना important है ये चीज, that it's very important that you show your losses so that you get benefit.
Correct. In future.
Yeah, Vivek, you're right. I'm exactly listening to this program on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And
Great.
a lot of people has been enlightened their information on these new requirements.
Super.
So this
Yeah,
question was not asked by anyone if you're not making any money or you are not doing any transactions. So what exactly is the regulation applies on?
Great, Hussain. And this is not the only clue I would like to give. I have to give you something else also. Since your business
Yeah,
is less than 3 million turnover,
Yeah.
there is a small business relief option also for you.
Right.
Okay, so that means there won't be any much compliance requirements for you. Only just a notification has to be given to the authority. Authority didn't come up with the form how it has to be submitted, but registration is required. But a small business relief where the compliance requirement is not there, just a declaration is enough.
Superb. So no need to
So-
maintain books of accounts.
Yeah, not required.
But for all that
So-
help,
so-
Tally Solutions is a brilliant way of helping.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what
Small
I always
businesses.
say.
They have bring this solution exactly in the time is the peak.
That's what.
They're-
Yeah, correct. This is
They're
the great
providing
help.
their expertise.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a great help.
Great help,
and
and
that's-
then, in my opinion, from my experience also, Tally is one of the best accounting software where it's very simple. You can do the accounting.
You know, the expertise, the knowledge base you are having, the knowledge base your company is having, your pool of the population they are having, getting the chartered accountants and the tax experts.
It's
They are
amazing.
giving
Right.
immense knowledge.
Superb यार, thank you so much. Tally Solutions की और तारीफ कीजिए ताकि
Yeah,
वो
बेशक,
सालों साल हमारे साथ
बिल्कुल
जुड़े
सही
रहे.
बात है. चलो
you.
विवेक, शुक्रिया. Thank you very much. So kind.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Hussain.
Manu Saab, thank you very much.
Thank you, Hussain. Nice
Thank
talking
you.
to
But yeah, a lot of clarity coming in as well, as a business owner.
Yeah.
And what point you mentioned about small business relief,
Yeah.
you don't have to adhere to the compliance, which is such a big relief rather than the FTA relief.
correct. So it is a great relief, great opportunity for the SMEs also, especially for the startup. If you are in startup and then not making a huge profit, then you can just declare that you are into the category of small business relief. We call it as SBR, small business relief. And then if your turnover is less than 3 million, you can claim it from the financial year 2023 June onwards up to 31st December 2026.
Correct, yeah.
So in 3 years you can claim this benefit,
Super.
provided in any of the financial year your turnover is not crossing 3 million.
Superb. Talking about business, there are a lot of fields where people get a lot of commissions as well. Will that come under purview? For example, a real estate agent, earning commission.
Correct.
Is that considered as a business as well because of the value of the amount? Director's remuneration also, when we talk about when he's a consultant with different companies, not owning the companies. So that also, and will it be under transfer pricing? We'll get to know. लेकिन आपके पास अगर सवाल है तो you can always give us a call 800-81003. This is Talk Compliance brought to you by Tally Solutions.
Talk 100.3.
This is Talk Compliance Hour brought to you by Tally Solutions. CA Manu Palerichal हमारे साथ. We are discussing about transfer pricing, and General also, अगर आपके पास कोई सवाल है, you can always give us a call 800-810-03. Sharon has a very interesting question for
Well,
CA Manu.
actually, just to touch on what you ended our talk with, if for real estate agents or companies, let's touch on that.
Or
because I thought-
freelancers.
or freelancers for that
Right.
matter. What? How would they go about it?
The process,
And does it actually are they counted in this process?
Yeah, we have to take into two whether you are doing with a company as an LLC or whatever with a license, then it is a legal entity.
Correct.
Then it is falling under corporate tax. Whatever the transactions you are doing, whether you are not doing any transaction, also falling under corporate tax. Then there is an option available that if your turnover is less than 3 million dirhams, then even if you make a profit, you can get a relief under small business relief.
Correct, yeah.
But if you are doing under individual capacity, a small turnover, if you are making a commission and this kind of thing, if it's a personal income, if you are earning like that,
Right.
if your income is not crossing 1 million, it will not be considered as a business, and then you can get a relief from the business,
But you
from
know,
the corporate tax.
say
At the
Manu,
same time,
you know, real estate agents, you know, I
Yeah.
see a lot of videos, a lot of companies promote it, you know, be an agent with our company.
Yeah.
And then they keep asking the agents, how much did you make? How much did you make? And they actually end up saying 1.3 million, 1.4 million.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that caught my attention.
Yeah.
And that's pretty normal, Sharon, to
Yeah, it
make
is.
that kind of commission.
Absolutely, that's what I said. If
Yeah.
you're a real estate agent and depending on which area that you specialize in,
Correct.
making 1 million a year it's not a big deal.
Correct.
You know?
Then out of that amount, why can't we? What's the problem in paying 9% of tax?
So even
Also, I was thinking, a real estate agent, you will be enlisted with a company. You're working
Yeah.
for a company.
Correct.
So then, would you fall under a freelancer?
It all depends upon how's the terms and conditions. What's the contract you have with
Correct.
your
So
employer?
when a company is paying out that kind of commission, it's not that the agent is getting it from the market straight away. Of
Correct.
course, there are certain transactions that happen that way.
Yeah.
But if a company is paying, they can include it as expense.
Is it a salary? A company can consider this payment as expenses, definitely, because this is a payout. Definitely, they can claim this as expenses.
50-50, for example, is the thing.
50,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow,
50-50.
this is very interesting. It gets even more cryptic as we start moving.
As we dive into it.
Right.
But I think this next question I have for you, you touched on it just a little bit, but let's just go into detail. What are the methods one should adopt to ensure that the business is at arm's length?
Yeah, that's very interesting question. I'd like to just explain you a little bit more into that. There are different methods adopted by OECD, and those methods are accepted in UAE corporate tax as well. So those methods are there are resale price method, cost plus method, or there are 5 methods applicable like that. So these are these methods. Any one of the methods which is suitable for their business, we have to adopt. Comparable uncontrolled method, or cost plus method, resale price method, transaction net margin method. So any of the methods we can adopt.
Right.
But it has to make sure that the method what we are adopting is to the proper one for their business, and to adapt and give a result of the arm's length transactions. So this has to be arrived by comparing with the transactions with other companies in the same line of business. With a uncontrolled transaction. Uncontrolled means we need not compare with another company which is also doing the related party transaction.
Correct.
It has to be with independent transactions. So that has to be such methods has to be the right method has to be adopted.
Correct. We also got a question. What about the freelancers? These guys have ruined the small businesses.
So
If you notice,
Yeah.
this is a trend which is happening. You know,
Correct.
a group of influencers coming together.
yeah.
They are so well versed with the market in terms of the numbers that actually advertisers are actually picking them up for their campaigns
Yes.
Yeah.
rather than going to a legal entity to do it.
Yeah.
Now, as a group of freelancers, you might be making millions. You
Okay.
never know. And
Yeah.
you are not registered as a group.
As a group or as a company.
Now, this is
together.
a fantastic question that इन्होंने
course.
पूछा है.
Yeah.
क्या
Who-
नाम है
who
इनका?
asked this
Sanjay.
question?
Sanjay asked this question.
Sanjay, contact me later.
If you have questions, 800-810.
And in short, Sanjay, if you are earning more, if your transaction value is more than 1 million in a year, then you will be falling under this category, and then you have to pay tax for the profit what you are earning more than 375,000.
Wow. 800-81003. सी मनु पलेरिचल हमारे साथ है. आप सुनते रहिए.
Talk 100.3.
So we've been getting some questions. CA Manu हमारे साथ है. This is Talk Compliance brought to you by Tally Solutions. Log on कीजिए tallysolutions.com. We are a free zone company in Davza.
Yeah.
And we don't generate any income. Do we need to register for corporate tax? Irshad has sent this message. How come you don't generate any income?
Yeah, he is not doing any business. That's what he
Okay.
might have meant, just a license. There are many license holders like that. They plan to do some business and business didn't get converted. So still the corporate tax will be applicable for you. Nothing to worry, because only the compliance, you have to register for tax, and before the due date you have to submit the tax return. So for the registration there is no charge. It is free of cost. Government is allowing us to register for tax, and the tax return also free of cost. It's only a compliance procedure. Since there is no transaction for you, there is no profit, nothing to pay to the authority.
Superb. I hope Irshad आपको जवाब मिल गया होगा. And also 0586861003. Some memes as well coming in for the corporate world, corporate tax as well. We won't share that. But talking about transfer pricing, I think we should touch up on that as well. The concept of related party and connected persons, you know, in terms of having relations, that also matters. For example, my brother, my nephew, that also comes into place.
Yeah, that also matters. That also matters in the sense these are called a connected person. Suppose it goes up to the 4th generation of kinship. Whether even it can be by adoption. That means my father, grandfather, grandfather's father, and grandfather's father. So the 4th degree of generation, the relationships are called connected persons, related parties. So here, especially in the UAE, so there are a lot of family business. Even sometimes one business dealing with another company, they may not know whether they are related party or not.
Oh wow!
That much complication will be there because it's up to 4th generation. So people may not know that much.
Correct.
So
and this happens with the community business as well, which help each other and to grow.
Community business, if they are really related in the 4th generations through kinship or by the adoption, so still it will be applicable. Then only it will be applicable. Then wife, husband, this kind of relationship. So I would like to just touch upon, very important, since we have only 10 more minutes, I think. So transfer pricing related, some additional point, recent developments or the recent updates are there from the ministry that I would like to update.
Okay.
So in transfer pricing, the compliance requirement is we have to ensure that the transactions are at arm's length. Our responsibility is to prove and show a proof that the transactions at arm's length.
Okay.
So for that purpose, what we have to do, we should have supporting documents. Documents only will speak, because we have to maintain these documents up to 7 years. In corporate tax, we have to maintain the documents for 7 years. For VAT purpose, it is 5 years, and then for the real estate activity, it is 15 years. But for corporate tax, we have to maintain the documents for 7 years. And these documents have to be maintained, and these transactions are to be proved that it is at arm's length. For that, what we have to do, we have to show the document that the transactions, a transfer pricing study has to be done.
Okay.
How the study is done, we have to take the data from the market. Not from the open market. There are certain
Resources.
there are certain listed authorities or the agents who disclose the data.
Okay.
For example, S&P or Bloomberg or Reuters. These are the agents who provide the data for comparing the transactions prices.
But
in
here,
simple terms.
for the local market as well, we can refer to international.
Yeah, international. If local markets data is available, they will provide that one. If we are not getting that one, then we will go to the next level in the region. If we are not getting from there also, then we will go to the international, the bigger picture, bigger level we will be going. And the very important thing, suppose I have a company and then I have a transaction with 4 my related parties. And with each, I am doing a 2 type of transaction, maybe one sale and one services. So with the 4 parties, 2 each, 8 transactions. So 8 categories of transactions. To make a transfer pricing study, it will cost minimum actual cost for one transaction is around 5,000, 6,000 dirhams.
So it is expensive. It's
very expensive. It's a cost. Then for the person who's analyzing the consultant's cost or whether in-house, it's not possible to get this data from in-house, because if you are individually going for getting this data, it will be very expensive. This is the best rate available, or even it's a very lowest price, I said. So it is not possible for every small entity to get this kind of transfer pricing study.
Correct.
The authority came up with a recent update, very helpful. The master file and local file. These are the 2 category of files we have to maintain under transfer pricing. It has to be maintained only for companies which are having turnover 200 million or more.
Okay.
So the companies which are having turnover more than 200 million, then only they have to maintain this master file and local file. Otherwise, it should be, if it is such a company which is having turnover less than 200 million, but if it is forming part of a multinational entities, MNEs. MNE means globally their turnover may be more than 3.15 billion.
Right.
If a small company we have in Jabalali, but it is forming part of the global and multinational entity which is having a turnover more than 3.15 billion, then also they have to maintain this master file and local file. In short, the companies which are having turnover more than 200 million or which are forming part of MNEs have to maintain master file and local file.
Correct.
For other companies, small entities which are not forming part of these categories, have to maintain all the supporting documents, has to prove that they are doing the business under arm's length, and keep the supporting documents along with the tax return. They have to file an additional form declaring their transaction details.
Lovely. I just have one question for you before we actually end it. So what are the steps that one should adopt to make sure that his company is complying with TP?
For compliance of TP, then one should make sure that they have enough supporting documents, satisfied supporting documents that the transactions are at arm's length. So proving that one, they should have internal document. If the company is falling under the category of 200 million or MNEs, then definitely they should have a transfer pricing policy, transfer pricing study, master file and local file. In master file and local file, there are certain minimum documents to be maintained, and these are in detail. I don't want to go in detail. In master file, it has to be like organization structure, description of business, intercompany transaction detail, transfer pricing policy, financial and tax position, financial positions or tax position. This kind of details are required. In local file, if it is an overview of the local entity's business, details of the transactions with the related party, or analysis of the transfer pricing method which I mentioned earlier, the 5 methods which I mentioned, or the analysis of comparable data and the financial information, non-financial information. These are the very lengthy process to maintain master file and local file. So if they are falling under the category of 200 million or multinational entities, they have to maintain these files. Otherwise, they should have internal document which are proving that the transactions are at arm's length. So proper documentation should be maintained. And if authority asks, then we have to submit the documents as well.
Superb. See, Manu, it is always a pleasure. This is the second time. We remember the first time we started Talk Compliance, you were our first guest. So really thank you. This is the 28th episode?
Yeah, this is 28th episode. So we really have to
come a long way.
26.
A big thank you to Tally Solutions, because I wouldn't have delved into the topic of corporate tax or compliance, and big thank you to them for making me aware about so much, and also imparting this knowledge, and very kind of you of sharing your knowledge and expertise.
Thank you. It is a great opportunity for me to having here by Tally Solutions and then Talk FM. So I'm very honored.
And special thanks to me
special
also for
thank
asking.
you to
And thanks
So
to you for
Vivek
making
and
very interesting.
Yeah.
Vivek an expert on the topic.
Yeah, so we all experts are making you both expert on the subject. And
Too many experts, yeah.
I have a lot of connection with the Tally where I started my accounting job in Tally accounting software.
Beautiful.
So still many of our clients are using this Tally accounting software. So my connection with the Tally is from the
Goes a long way.
Yeah.
Sundari, Talk 100.3. Thank you, CA Manu. We'll see you next time in the studios.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.